What are firefighters and fire departments looking for in a candidate? I know many of you, if not all of you, have had this question at some point in time. We are going to cover this overwhelming question right now, so stick with me. Hey guys, it's Markel Williams from Firefighter Ambitions, where we help candidates like yourself reach your goal of becoming firefighters.
Welcome to video 3, the last video in our 3-part series.
If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified anytime we post new content.
It isn't a secret that a fire career is highly sought after, with the market being highly competitive. Thousands of candidates year in and year out compete just for a handful of spots.
Knowing and understanding what fire departments are looking for in a candidate is vital to having success in the recruitment process. So, what are fire departments looking for in a candidate?
Before we begin, let's quickly review what we covered in the previous videos. We've covered the topics of passion and total wellness. Total wellness consisting of emotional, physical, financial, social, intellectual, occupational, environmental, and spiritual. We've also covered dedication, hardworking, humble, educated, integrity, confident, loyal, coachable, and positive. If you landed on this video first and have yet to review the previous topics, be sure to check out videos 1 and 2.
Fire departments are looking for a candidate that's personable. When we think of somebody being personable, we think of someone that has a welcoming and positive demeanor, is a pleasure to be around, is generous, nice, friendly, and outgoing, and an individual that's well-mannered. Individuals that are personable make others feel important, which in turn overall makes them feel good. So this is a major reason why fire departments are looking for a candidate that's personable, because everything we do is about making other people feel good. A majority of our job is responding to emergencies and mitigating the situation, caring for a patient in the worst possible situation of their life, taking a negative and turning it into a positive, just trying to be that light at the end of the tunnel for someone. In our line of work, customer service is everything. Without the customers, we wouldn't have our awesome jobs. Fire departments are looking for candidates that are courteous, respectful, and caring, not only externally, but also internally with the members. A big part of our job is actually getting along with one another. If we don't get along with each other, how are we going to take care of everybody else? This doesn't go to say that we don't get frustrated and butt heads with one another, but at the end of the day, we come together when it's time to be professional and it's time to mitigate a situation and put our best foot forward for the customers. One big reminder that I want to leave you with this is, remember, if we supply anything less than exceptional customer service, we lose faith in the citizens we serve. And remember, those citizens are the taxpayers and voters. So that's how we get our paychecks, and that's how we get the votes in for what we need, whether it's new members, equipment, fire apparatuses, whatever the case is. So it's that much more important. With that being said, this is why fire departments are truly looking for individuals that are personable. Fire departments are looking for a candidate that doesn't pose a liability. What does it mean when a person's a liability? It means a person's presence or behavior is likely to cause embarrassment or shame. In regards to us, pretty much putting a negative image of the fire department out there. Words like hindrance, burden, inconvenience, obstacle, problem, all point to an individuals who pose a risk to an organization's missions, values, and goals. Simply put, on the fire department side of things, we evaluate our candidates on a scale. So do the positives outweigh the negatives, or do the negatives outweigh the positives? As I've stated before, there are a lot of specific examples of why accounting liability is important when recruiting firefighter candidates. One of the big ones is the taxpayer money. I mean, there's a lot of money spent to outfit you and to train you and to send you to the fire academy and to prepare you to be in the field. Not only that, but if you pose a liability, how do we know that you're going to uphold our standard and uphold our values and help us with our missions and goals, thus hindering our progress as a whole? Fire departments want candidates that understand they're representing something bigger than themselves. Not only they're representing their families, but they're also representing the department. When we wear our shirts, it says blank fire department on the back. It doesn't say your name. So from the time you're a firefighter, everyone's gonna know that you're a firefighter. From the union sticker on your vehicle or you wearing your gear home, your neighbors are gonna know. So eyes are always gonna be on you. So anything that you do is in the eyes of the public. So if it's something negative, the headline on the news isn't gonna be such and such has done something. It's gonna be blank firefighter does this, which is a bad representation of the fire department and all firefighters in general. The point I'm trying to make here is liability is a huge aspect that fire departments are evaluating. You swearing on to be a firefighter, you're taking an oath that you're going to uphold the standard. So whether you like it or not, you're going to be held to a higher standard than a normal citizen. When you're a firefighter, you are going to be the representation and the role model in the community. So you got to make sure that you're always putting your best foot forward at all times. Fire departments are looking for a candidate that's adaptable. What does it mean to be adaptable? Well, it basically means an individual has the ability to adjust to different situations and different conditions. So why is adaptability important to the fire department? The fire service is ever changing and it's always going to be subject to change. There will always be new dangers that arise. that we have to train and prepare for. We also have to continue to learn and develop tactics or strategies to handle a situation that may arise. When you become a firefighter throughout your career, you're going to notice that equipment may change from time to time. I know personally, the year before I became a firefighter, they were using pen and paper to do patient care reports. We call them PCRs. But the year I actually got hired and I became a firefighter, they ended up transitioning into an iPad, so everything was done electronically. Some of the older generation had a hard time with that adjustment. But me coming in, I was always used to using an iPad, so it was very easy for me to adjust. But this is a prime example of how throughout your career, equipment may change. So instead of just being upset or not buying into the new system that you guys may have in place, you adjust and adapt. Another huge aspect of the fire service that requires adaptability is bringing in new members. And I know we spoke about this before, but it's that vital. This is so huge. You're bringing another personality into the family. Another huge aspect of the fire service is just working with different crews. When I became a firefighter, I went through my probationary period where I cycled through 3 different units. So it was 3 months on an engine, 3 months on another engine, and then I had 3 months on a ladder, and then I was off probation. So when we get off probation, based on our seniority, we don't have the luxury of bidding on a home. What I mean by bidding on a home is putting your name in a hat saying, hey, I want this spot at this station. So being the newer guy with low seniority, we kind of had to rove. We were called the rovers. Every time we reported to shift, we had to make sure we checked the roster because where we were assigned to can change any given shift. So we had to make sure that we knew exactly where we were going. This is where adaptability comes into place because you're already a new member to the fire department. Now you're going to be working with different crews, different personalities. They like to do things a little different. This medic may like you to set up something this way while the medic that you're used to does something totally different. That's all about adaptability. You just got to humble yourself, be open-minded, and be willing to adapt to what their needs are. The list can go on and on, but what I'm trying to show you is the fire service requires an individual that is highly adaptable. Fire departments are looking for a candidate that's proud to be their authentic self. What does it mean to be your authentic self? That means just to be you. Don't try to be something that you're not. This is important to the fire department because upon evaluating you through the recruitment process, we need to see who we're hiring. We need to know what type of person you are, what type of roommate you're going to be to ensure you're a proper fit for the department. If you're lying put on the front in the recruitment process and you happen to slip through the cracks and get hired, well, congratulations to you. But I can tell you right now, the true you will surface and it's only going to affect your reputation because we were hiring you based off of what you gave us. I got to tell you this, there's a huge cost to putting on the front, lying, and wearing a mask. Typically, firefighters can sniff it out majority of the time, especially in the recruitment process. And if it's something that we sniff out, just know that we talk to one another. And it's not just internally within that department. We know other members in other departments, other cities. So word gets around. And if you're lying, putting on this front, wearing this mask, it's going to get around and you're only going to be blacklisted by everybody. At the end of the day, putting on the front, lying, being someone that's not you, only can lead to you becoming alienated. Because if it surfaces, you're only going to leave distaste in other people's mouth. They're not going to want to be around you. The point I'm trying to make here is not being yourself, trying to convey some image of someone that's not you requires a lot of energy, and that energy can be utilized in other aspects of your life. I know some of you may be thinking, how do you be your authentic self? Well, first of all, it starts with knowing who you are. I recently read a psychology article that utilized the acronym VITALS to paint an image of how to be your authentic self. So the V stood for values, which meant the things that keep you going, like your health and helping others and so on. The I stood for interests, which basically meant your interests and hobbies. What truly draws your passion and interest in your life, like fishing, playing sports, or whatever the case may be, playing video games, stuff along those lines. The T stood for temperament or personality. A perfect example of this would be, are you an introvert or an extrovert? Are you high strung? Are you a go with the flow type of person? And so on. The A stood for around the clock, which basically meant, what is your reoccurring daily cycle like? For example, when do you eat? When do you shower? When do you work out? Stuff like that. The L stood for life, mission, and goals, which basically has you debunk what significant events happen in your life and what desires and goals were produced because of these significant events. For example, for me, I grew up in a single parent household, and at the time my mom was working 2 jobs and trying to go to nursing school at the same time. So she wasn't ever really around, and money was always tight. We were living off welfare. So when it came to playing sports and stuff, we really didn't have the means for me to have, the appropriate shoes or basketball shoes or cleats or whatever the case may be. And there was a lot of my friends' parents that stepped in a sense, in my parents' place, my mom's place, and helped me purchase, basketball shoes and football cleats, and helped me sign up for sports teams and made sure that I made it to practice. Those significant events in my life played a huge role in why I pursued the fire career in the first place. I had almost strangers in a sense step out of their lives to come help me. So I felt like I needed to dedicate my life to giving back and making a difference for somebody else. This is a perfect example of life, mission, and goals. The S stood for strengths and skills. So simply put, what are your abilities and character strengths? So an example for this would be, one of my biggest strengths is strength. And it's not strength as in physical strength, it's strength in the ability to overcome adversity. Because I had to overcome a lot of adversity in my life, just like you may have, but I've taken that adversity and turned it almost in a sense into positives. With all this, the whole point I'm trying to make is you need to bring your whole self to the table. Leave your ego at the door, open up, and let us know who you are, so we know exactly who we're hiring and making sure you're the fit for the department. And another big thing is you need to be confident in yourself. You need to be confident in your abilities, confident in your strengths and weaknesses, and confident in just who you are as a person, and knowing that you have a lot to bring to the table, because that's what fire departments are looking for. And lastly, fire departments are looking for a candidate that can do the job. Simply put, you must be able to carry your own weight and do your part in the organization. This doesn't mean that you just need to be good at fighting fires or running EMS calls. You need to be exceptional in all aspects of the fire service. For example, taking pride in your education and especially obtaining your CEs, and ensuring that you're maintaining a strict fitness regimen throughout your career. And also with fitness, making sure that you're engaging in proper nutrition. 9 out of 10 times making the right decision. Fitness and nutrition is so important because our body is our tool. If we don't take care of ourselves, how can we do our job? How can we help others? So you got to take care of yourself. It's not just about making it through the career. It's about making it through the career happy and healthy, and then getting to retirement happy and healthy for 25 plus years. You need to maintain the fire stations and the equipment. You need to take pride in educating the community, whether that's in fire prevention or first aid, CPR, whatever the case is. You need to be willing to sacrifice your personal time for department causes, whether it's charity or union events. It may not be 100% of the time, but you need to do your best to be at those events. And you need to ensure that you remain adaptable, because as we stated before, adaptability is one of the most required aspects of the fire service. Another huge one that is obvious is you need to be willing to work at all hours. Through the night, a 24 shift, a 48 shift, whatever the case may be. You may be on the fire for 2 days if you work a 48-96 or whatever the case is. So you need to be willing and able to work those hours. So you have to know, and I'm sure some of you may have heard it, but for those of you who have not, a majority of our job is just about getting along with one another, training, maintaining the stations and equipment, running EMS calls, with a small part of it being fire calls or hazmat or technical rescue or whatever the case may be. A majority of our calls are going to be EMS related or customer service related. So you need to know that before you're going in to pursue this career. I wanted to throw a bonus tip at you. You want to make sure that you're a familiar face to the fire departments. What I mean by this is, being on that side of the fence as a candidate, you may look at the recruitment process like, man, it's extremely long. But being on our side of the fence, it's actually a very short period that we actually have to evaluate candidates and recruit them into the family for 25 plus years as a roommate. So while we are evaluating you candidates through the recruitment process, it's a breath of fresh air when we see a familiar face on the other side of the table, because you were that individual that came around and rode along with us or interviewed with us or whatever the case may be. So with this, we know who you are as a person. We know how you carry yourself. We know what you represent. So it makes it a little easier for us to select our candidates that way. I'm not saying that if you show your face up and you're riding everywhere and you're at every event and you're interviewing that you're guaranteed a spot. I'm just saying that it can help. What I'm trying to say is you need to do everything in your power to give yourself the upper hand, to separate yourself from the rest of the candidates. And this is one way that you can do that, because it takes a lot of effort, energy, and time to go down to the fire station and network and interview and meet different firefighters and go to different fire stations. That's a lot of time that's away from your family or away from things that you enjoy. But that's part of the process. It's tradition that we do that. Not everybody does it, but the people that are sound and that are coached, they do it. So you should do it. So put it like this, if you went and rode at Fire Department A and you rode at Station 1, you end up turning heads there, everyone loves your energy, you spoke well, you looked the part, you played the part, you are the part. What do you think is gonna happen? You're gonna leave that station and they're gonna remember you. It's not just gonna stay there though. What they're gonna do is they're gonna give you contact information, they're gonna push you to other members within that department, and not only that, they're gonna push you to external fire departments as well, because we don't only interact with one another, we train with other cities and we have friends and family in other cities. So the word's gonna get out. So you wanna make sure you're doing everything in your power to, when you are riding or when you are involved or networking with firefighters, that you're always putting your best foot forward. So it's something you wanna think about when you do this. We'll have a future video on what to do for a ride along or how to look. We'll take care of that. But one thing you definitely want to do is you definitely want to be clean shaven. I can tell you right now, I went in on one of my first ride alongs, didn't know what I was doing. I had chin hair, literally chin hair, way more than this. It was down here. I had earrings in. I was fresh out of college. I didn't know what I was doing, but you know what? I went in there. The guys were super respectful. They kind of educated me, and from that day on, I shaved it off, which I never thought I was going to shave my chin hair. And I took my earrings out, which I never thought I was going to do as well. But this is something that I wanted. I had to do what I had to do, is what I'm trying to tell you. Another reason why being a familiar face is huge, so specifically pertaining to the firefighter interview. during the recruitment process. We have 20 to 30 minutes to evaluate you as a candidate. So if we've never seen you before, all we're going is based off of what you say. So say you don't interview the best. I mean, you're extremely hurting your chances of becoming a firefighter. But say you've been around, you've interviewed, we've seen you, we liked you, we've passed you around to, different team members or different cities, and you're a very likable person. Say you didn't interview the best. Okay, you'll be graded accordingly, but then again, it will be taken into consideration that, hey, we know this person. Hey, they struggle here and there. We'll see how they can test it all the other candidates. And you'd be surprised at how well you'll actually do. I'm not saying that you can go in there and bomb an interview and get a job. Obviously, you have to perform. That's part of the tradition. That's part of the process. But it's definitely an added bonus if you are a familiar face and we know who you are, because 20 to 30 minutes to evaluate someone, to hire them as a roommate for 25 plus years is not is not enough time at all. I need to say this. You don't necessarily have to go ride. You don't have to network with firefighters to get a job. There's been plenty of people that have not done that and were successful, but I highly don't recommend that. So let me kind of give you an example. I actually tested for a department out in Arizona. At the time, I didn't know anything about this fire department. I've never stepped foot in it. I tried to connect with some of their firefighters, but they just never got back to me. But the point is I still studied for the test. I went and did well on their written exam. They had an in-house written exam that I took. Then they also did their own CPAT. So I went down and did their CPAT. And then at the time, I was always preparing for my interview. I was just waiting for a day I had an opportunity. So I was ready. So I went into their first round interviews, did well enough to pass, made it in the top 10 candidates, did well enough to get offered an invitation to the second round interview. Luckily, I didn't have to go in because I got hired before that with another department I was testing for at the time. But the point I'm trying to tell you is I was one of their top candidates at that point in the testing process. So going into that second interview, say I did well, I would have got a job, and I've never stepped foot in that department. So you can do the same. But like I said, I highly don't recommend that. Respect the tradition, respect the grind, do your part, do what others have done before you, emulate what they've done, and get out there, grind, network, and meet firefighters and ride along as much as you possibly can, because it will help you, not only in just the recruitment process itself, but just your knowledge of the fire service and what to expect. And hey, riding along at different fire departments, you're gonna see what you like and what you don't like. So all in all, with this whole conversation that we've had, not one of these characteristics is more powerful than the other. They all, in a sense, go hand in hand with one another. Think about it. If you look at the word hardworking, dedicated can mean the exact same thing. So that goes to tell you, you really need to have all these things to be a standout candidate for the fire department. I'm here to tell you, if you do exemplify all these characteristics, you're gonna have a strong shot at becoming a firefighter. I want you guys to do a couple things for me. I want you to comment down below what future videos you'd like us to make that will help you along your process of becoming a firefighter. I want you to like the video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Be sure to check out our social accounts linked below. And I invite you to join our Facebook group of like-minded individuals pursuing their goals and dreams of becoming a firefighter. We have some huge content being developed for you guys, so be sure to stay engaged. All in all, keep your head down and work hard. Good luck, future firefighters.